Alright, I should be live. I'm gonna give it a bit and make sure it's working before I actually get started. I'm gonna pull it up on my stuff here, make sure everything's working properly. Cool. Everything looks good. One moment. Okay. So, fun story. I am coming off of a cold, so I'm gonna sound different. I also didn't get a whole lot of sleep last night, and then yeah, my voice might wear out quickly too as well. So there's a lot of stuff. Hold on, I forgot to recalibrate my eye levels before the stream. My eyes are very closed today. What? Where are you at? Wait, what? Hold on. Have you tried obsidian? What? Oh, it's like, okay. So I know it. I don't know how to say it. Kanban is, but I've never heard of obsidian. I mean, just a plain list of notes works fine. Anyways, yeah. So I somehow managed to only get sick one other time in the last 3 years, and that was when I caught COVID. But I started a job and then immediately got sick, so that was interesting. But yeah, depending on how my voice holds out, I might not be streaming for too long today. Anyways, so today I have this stuff to do. This one in particular will be interesting. Just the implementation of it. So there's a problem right now where, because of the way my networking is written, there's like the networking layer I wrote likes to bundle up requests so that it can get a higher throughput overall. But the downside of that is that individual requests can become very late because they get bundled with requests that were way before, and then it takes a while for all of that to go through. So I have to consider, well, my main thought here is to just take out time syncing from my networking library and do it into just like a Flask server. So I might just make a request to my website, which is running on the same server, and ask it what time it is, because the system time should be the same. So that is an option. And I think that's what I'm going to go for now. I might change it later, but that is kind of the plan for today. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much the difference is, but I think it's maybe 100 or 200, maybe up to 500 milliseconds in difference, just because of the funkiness of how bundled messages end up working, especially over TCP. So I'm gonna have to be kind of careful with that. And then, yeah, so if I make this to Flask, I'm not sure exactly how long the delay is. I think it's gonna be, well, it's gonna be the ping plus like the TCP delay, so it gets a little bit longer. And then Flask takes, I don't know, a few milliseconds to respond as well. So this is still gonna be like 100 milliseconds of delay. Anyways, the point here is that this needs to be consistent of a number. Also, if the response time is consistent, I can subtract the time. Well, I can subtract the time it took to get a response from the hold on. Yeah, I can subtract the time it took to get a response. Well, I take the time it took to get a response, divide that by 2, and subtract that from the time received, and that automatically just accounts for ping, as long as the overhead is consistent and not too much bigger than the ping, which should, I think, be the case if I make a request to my Flask API. This one I'm gonna have to, I think I just have to send out a message saying we'll just keep track of disconnected players, and then send out a message to the clients when someone disconnects so they know to remove them. Same thing goes for warping. I think disconnect and warp should not be the same, I don't think, because one will have a visual effect and then the other one's just popping out of existence. So I'm gonna have to have 2 different messages here. So I have to like set up 3 API calls just between these 2 things. This is gonna be another API call. So the client will send something to the server telling them to update the inventory. It's not too complicated. I think I should be able to easily get all 3 of these done today. I'm gonna take a look at chat real quick though. Obsidian is basically just markdown, a markdown editor. It's like Notion but on your machine, and dark mode, and has plugins which makes it way better. I think, wait, I've heard of Notion, but I also don't use that, so I think a to-do list gets things done fine. Is online multiplayer hard with Python? No, it's actually really easy. Python is generally pretty good for netcode. There are a couple things you have to be careful about. So, for example, one of them, C and C++ do kind of well with binary streams of data. So, depending on the level of compression you've got in your packages, there are portions that might be easier in C or C++. But overall, I'd say Python is pretty easy. Cowboy or Senorita? I'm not sure what the question is there. Do I know about the Godot game engine? Yes, I do. I made a game with it. If you look them, it's one of the time lapses I have. Anyways, for once, I'm not sitting here for 40 minutes. I made it through the chat in like 8.5 minutes. That's incredible. Oh, there's another message. Am I using WebSockets? How are you doing with sending and receiving data from the server? Actually, I can pull that up here. I've shown it before and other stuff. I'm using sockets, so you can see the socket right here, but I have like a connection loop that just checks for requests that I'm sending in the main game, and then sends them, receives them, or like does some stuff and calls the callback with the message response from the server, so they can hook up stuff like I'm using Flask. So this right here looks like I'm using Flask pretty much. So I can just use decorators to mark functions I want for dealing with different requests. So I'm actually completely replacing this callback because I'm no longer going to be using the time request to the server. I'm going to go to my Flask server instead, which is going to look pretty similar actually, at least on the server side. Will you do a tutorial multiplayer stuff with Pygame? I won't, because, or at least not for now, because I don't want to make a tutorial multiplayer stuff until I've released a game that is multiplayer. Because there's probably stuff that's going to pop up when I've released a game where I'm like, oh, I need to fix this. And I don't want to be giving advice on how people should be structuring multiplayer stuff until I have something that's working. I mean, this already works, it's just it's not permanently up 24/7. So I'm gonna wait a bit before considering that, but that is on my radar. What ID is it? This is Adam. Working find previous streams. They're in my playlists. I have a live streams playlist, or if you just go on my homepage and scroll down for YouTube, they're just all enlisted in a playlist because otherwise they flood my videos. All right. So first thing first, I need to be able to make an API request to my Flask server to get the time. So this is gonna start with me updating my Flask server. Oh, I should have thought about this before stream, but I think there might be sensitive data in the code for my website. Hold on, I'm gonna have to take a look here and maybe see if I can pull it up. Worst case scenario, this is like a very small amount of code that I have to write. I can probably just speak it off the top of my head right now without even looking at the code. Where is the... Let's go, I think right here. Yeah, there's sensitive information here, kind of. So I'm gonna do this off screen, but I have to write like 3 lines, so give me a moment. So I just have to set up a route for the API endpoint. I define get time, return JSON dumps time to time. Okay, just gonna make sure time is imported, and that is actually all that I need. Cool. Gonna have to open up another PowerShell here. Where did I put the? I think it's under D. I always get lost in my stuff here. I think it rework. Normally I do this with FileZilla actually, because I don't remember the exact path to the folder. So I'm gonna pull FileZilla and do it that way. And for those who aren't aware, the way I have this set up, when I'm developing, my server is live on my actual remote server that I'm renting. So it's a very realistic scenario that I develop with. Where did I put my... Here's my website. Aha, found it. So now I just have to... Where... I'm trying to think if I can show you this. I'm just visually scanning, make sure I don't have any sensitive information on here. I don't see anything. I think it looks good. Just also checking for IP addresses. I think I'm good. So, yeah, all I gotta do is FileZilla. It's good for managing your files between a remote server. So, I can probably just drop this in here. Oh, wait a second. Hold up. What the? Why is it 460 bytes? That is not correct. Why did FileZilla... It's not 460 bytes. Is this the wrong main? Hold on, I'm gonna have to pull up another PowerShell. So FileZilla says that the original main.py is 460 bytes. I don't know what's in it. So I think I'm gonna do this off screen just in case I have any files here that you shouldn't be seeing. Where? Oh, I'm stupid. I modified the wrong file. Okay, so fun fact, I have, where is this? So I was looking at the old rework of my website. I forgot I reworked my website again. If you go to my website right now, hold on, let me pull it up. If you go to my website right now, it now looks like this. And when I did that, I reworked it. What? And I redid all the code as well. But I gotta figure out where on earth I put the code for that. Worst case scenario, I could just copy the code down, but I don't know where. Let's see. I'm just going through my list of projects here. Maybe it's all. Maybe I put it on my desktop. Where did I? What? I don't know where I would have put this thing. This is an unexpected problem. So normally I would have either have had it like on my desktop, inactive, or in my projects folder, but that's not where I'm seeing it. Hold on. I'm just gonna go one by one through my projects and see if I'm missing it. So I have admin of code, I have a matchmaking thing, I have an Oculus Touch interface, something for Beat Saber, something for some background, Bloom. I'm gonna see if I can, I don't think any of this stuff is sensitive, so I can probably show you the whole thing here. Or wait, there's a capital web, that's like my old website. Okay, so I think I can pull this over because I don't see anything sensitive in here. Yeah. So here's my just projects folder. This is for random non-game stuff. So here's where my normal website is. And then there's a bunch of stuff in here. I'm looking to see if I can find all that code for that new website. And I don't see it. Hold on, I forgot if there's anything sensitive in here. One moment. I don't think there is. I think, well, there definitely are in some of the files, but I don't think that's... I don't... Where on earth could I have put this thing? Okay, so one more folder down in there was sensitive stuff, so I do have to be careful about that. Alright. I'm gonna do it the cheap way in a moment here. If I can't find my stupid code, where would I have put this thing? Oh wait, hold on. I think I wrote this in Atom. It should be in my history. Maybe. Maybe not. It's either been too long, or is there a way I can see my full project history? I don't think so. That's crazy. Okay. I have no idea where that stuff went. I'm just gonna... I have a website tools folder. Did I like accidentally delete it or something dumb like that? I wouldn't be surprised. I'm gonna just do a little bit of downloading. This is impressive. So, wait, hold on. In here, there's a file called encavers.py, which is the API for Encavers, which is the multiplayer game. And then from here, I cannot show you this because it has my IP address on it. So I will have to write this off screen again. This should be very quick though. All I gotta do is app.root API time def get time return json.dumps and then time time, and that should work. What is this? Okay. I'm gonna overwrite the file I have on the server, and then I gotta restart my server, and then I can make a request and see if it's working. So it should work, probably. I'm gonna open up another PowerShell here. I don't remember if there's anything sensitive on the tmux. Okay, I could show you tmux, but there are some IP addresses here from people visiting the website, so I won't do that. This is the only part of the stream where I have to mess with my website, so once I'm done with this, I can show everything else. Oops, didn't even click that. Alright. I'm gonna go to my website and then time. Okay, so if you look at the API boy right here, this works. One moment. I've got a lot of background noise right now. I gotta give it a moment to quiet down. Give me a moment. But yeah, so I've got my time here. This, every time I refresh it, I get the current time according to the server, and then this is what I'm going to use. So to get that in code, all I have to do, import requests requests.get, and actually you could even pull up this yourselves. I think I have to put the HTTPS, maybe. Yeah, I think I do. And then API/time, and then .text, or I can do .json. Either that works too. And you can see I get a time. I just do this, and I get a time pretty fast. Now, if I measure the time it takes for me to get a response from doing that, I can calculate what the ping is, and then figure out what the exact time should be. All right. So that was the one part I had to do off screen. The rest is my normal. Like I have two technical servers or host applications running on my remote server. So the one that runs my website, there's sensitive information in relation to that. And by sensitive, I mean pretty much just my IP address. That's about it. And then actually there is a database password that's not super important, But that's like it's only the password for my database for the website, so it's a if people get into my server, they get that, but that's not a huge deal because it's only my server that uses that database. But I don't want to show you guys it on stream because then I have to go and change my password. Anyways, there are better ways to do that. I could do that with keys and stuff, and I could encrypt the password or something like that. But I'm lazy, so the actual remote application for the game itself, it doesn't have any sensitive information. I can just click through everything pretty much. Actually no, I think the password for it uses the same database. The password might be in there somewhere. Oh no, it's not actually. I just remember, yeah, it's not, because I have to type it every single time I start the server. I could show you that. Let me make sure I can show you this. Yeah, I can show you this. So right here, I start up the server. First thing it asks is the database password, so I have to enter that. So there's no sensitive information in relation to the code for this game itself, aside from the portions that run on my website. Anyways, all right. I'm gonna catch up on chat here before I do other stuff. Alright. Have I been able to compile to a working exe file with Pygame? I have a video about how you do that. What is my highest earring ever? I don't know what you're asking. I don't think earring is the right word there. What is game module? What? Are you asking about this file? This is just a top level file for the game pretty much. And this one creates all of the, like, it creates the window, input, assets, world, overworld, state, networking, UI. It creates everything for the game pretty much and manages it, so it has a game. That's where the game loop is as well. My game loop is right here. This is my whole game loop. It calls these two functions, which go through and call a bunch of functions and a bunch of children. Have I tried Nuitka instead of Python? I've not, or maybe I've heard of it, but I haven't looked at it. Okay, you're complaining about me always streaming when you have to go study, but it's the same time every week right now. So if that's a problem for you, then too bad, I guess. This is the peak time of the week, I think, for me. Because I have viewers very spread out across the world, so the goal here is make sure the people in the Pacific Ocean are asleep. Is MMO even possible with Pygame? Yes, it is, because 100 players, yes, it is. I've checked my statistics here, and that's completely doable with my code so far. How's bandwidth? I can actually show you. Alright, I can pull up Task Manager here. There we go. If I go here, you can see what it's doing. Oh, so a fair amount of this is actually coming from the live stream, so that's not quite fair. I gotta go here. So there's like, I don't know why there's two. Am I running like, what? So there's that one. Oh, the YouTube chats, my YouTube chat thing is connected as well. So this one, it's running at 100 kilobits per second right now or so, which is like nothing. You can run that on almost any connection. Now, if you have a connection where like the latency varies wildly, then that will be a problem. I wouldn't recommend using my IDE because it it got deprecated. So I think the way to go now is just VS Code. I'm just using it until I can't use it anymore, pretty much. I went over at the beginning of the stream my thoughts on making a multiplayer tutorial if you're interested in that. Anyways, so time to do the time sync stuff. This shouldn't be too hard. I gotta find where this request is made. I think it's like in the networking code, like the networking file. I think it's in here, maybe? Oh yes it is, right here. So, instead of doing this, I need to, well, first of all, I need to go back here and see what it does with the time. So it simply does that. So all I have to do, def sync time self, literally just import. This is going to do what I showed you earlier, and you guys can do this at home if you want, because it's coming from my actual server. Do I have the address here? Hold up. I'm not sure if I can make a request to the IP address or not. If I set up Cloudflare, I won't be able to. I don't think. Actually, no, I would be able to with Cloudflare to some extent. I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. Well, I'm just gonna like start this, like a bunch of people are gonna be playing this game one day, and then I completely forget about it, and I set up Cloudflare, which is a proxy thing to handle denial of service attacks. I'll set it up and then accidentally disconnect every single person from the MMO and get really confused sometime. I don't know. Hopefully me talking about it right now is gonna make it so I don't forget about it. Anyway, so requests.get, and then so the problem here is I need to know where to make the request, and I don't want to just hard code my website in here. So actually I think it does go to my domain now that I think about it. Let's see. Where would it be? So I create the client. Where do I create the client? Hold up. Init client. Where does the init client come from? I'm assuming API. Client API. So comes from there. So what I can do is grab host, and all I gotta do, request.get host. I think might have to add the HTTPS in front of that. Yeah, I do. I think. Wait, let's see what happens. Import requests. Requests.get, and then we go DaFluffyPotato.com/API/time .json. So yeah, it doesn't like the fact that I don't have the HTTPS in there, so I will have to add that. So HTTPS, and then you put in the host, and then I just do .json. So, and then I take time and print, or no, sync time. Wait, let's call that time received, or server time. That's better. So what I want to do here is you take the start time. Do I have time in here? Yes, I do. Start time equals time.time. Time elapsed equals the difference in time. Basically, I'm measuring how long it takes to do this. And then you take, what is it? So I add elapsed time to the server time divided by 2. That's the estimation of the server time. So server time equals time elapsed divided by 2, and then you add, that should be plus equals. And then you resync that with, that, and then that's a self.client data. That should do it. No clue if that works. We'll see. So self.sync time. I don't think that request is made anywhere else. I don't know. We'll see. Where can I think... So this one, there might be something in here where it just immediately makes a time request, so I gotta look for that. So I'm gonna search request time. Where am I? Where is this? Is this the initialization? It is. So I have to be careful about this. So I can't do that. So fortunately for me, this is the last step, which means since this is in the client init, or init client, I just have to go over here, look for that init, which is right here, self.sync time, and that's effectively the same. And then I have to see where that data is stored so I can print it out. So presumably in here I keep track of the server time. Yes, I do. So all I gotta do, go over to here, self.client data.server time, print that, make sure it's updated, and we should be good. Actually, I'm gonna check if there's any overhead code in the resync here. There might be. I wouldn't be surprised. So it's always good to double check these things so there's no mistakes. World data. Wait. Wait. No, it's a function in here. Okay. Pretty simple. Here comes the crash. Let's go. Wait a second, I got disconnected from the server. Okay. Trying to start the server again. JSON decode error. What kind of error did I get? I'm gonna print dot, I think it's dot text, and then I can see whatever it's giving me. String object. Oh, there's no. Oh, that's not a function. That's a property. It's annoying. The JSON is a function, but the wrong file, but the text is not a function. What did it give me here? Oh, I forgot to go to I gotta do, this needs to be plus API time to get the time. It was requesting the actual home page on my website instead of the time. Okay, I'm getting timestamps that look reasonable. So now why am I lagging every single time? Oh, it's because this is happening in the main thread. This should not be happening in the main thread. Okay. So, let's do this. Def sync time core self. This is spaghetti, but it should work. So it was stuttering there because I was making requests in the main thread. So for the whole duration that this request is going through, the game was paused. And this is one of the main issues you have to deal with it when you're dealing with networking, is that your networking needs to be in another thread. So what I have to do here, so do I have threading in here? have to do import threading, and I do threading.thread target equals this function, and then dot start. I don't know if this is quite what I need. Wait, is that, hold up here. Where did my timestamp go? Self.client data.server time. So this will start up an asynchronous thread here, hopefully. So I think self is technically an argument as well. I might have to do like an args equals self here. I'm not sure if this is gonna work. We will see. No, it seems to work fine. Cool. So I'm just gonna wait and see if there's any jitters in the movement of that thing, because if there's jitters in the time, then this thing should jump in position. Because the position of the enemies is dependent on the client's estimation of the server's time. So as it updates the server time, this thing should be moving to different position if I have inconsistent ping or something like that. Anyways, so you can see all these timestamps right here. This is what is saying the server's time is based on my calculations from here. It looks pretty consistent, so I'm gonna leave that. So because I didn't see any jitter, I don't need to interpolate. Because if I don't have jitter, most of the people with good internet probably won't have jitter, at least probably. So I'm gonna leave that. Oh, you couldn't see anything? Hold up here. That is interesting. Hold on, I'll fix it. Hold on. That's so weird. I'm using the same settings as the last stream. So you can see it if I do that. So it's in here somewhere. Oh, you can't see it because I have multiple instances running. That's obnoxious. I don't know where this one came from. Alright. Wait, what one is it looking at now? There's nothing for it to look at. Okay, there it goes. It's... Oh, wait, that was just, my scene switcher was off. Hold on. Okay. Everything should be good now. I just had, a dead window with a black screen, so that's what OBS was looking at. So I have to be careful about that. Sorry about that. Alright. I'm gonna catch up on chat here. I don't think I would call myself an underrated Pygame dev. I feel like I don't think I'm underrated. I think plenty of people know about my work, considering the type of things I do. Like, Pygame's not that big of a community, so yeah. This stream will be in the playlists, my live stream playlist. I need, like, if anyone has any good idea on how to make sure that people see that the streams go into that playlist, let me know, because I get asked that a million times. do you compile your game, or how do you prevent people from just taking your game code? So first of all, you can't compile Python. It's called packaging. The whole idea is that you take the interpreter, which is the executable, and bundle that with the code, and where the interpreter is kind of its own executable, and it's set up. You set it up so that you have essentially an executable that uses the interpreter to run the code, and then that people can run it anywhere then. So that's the idea. You're not compiling it, but you do make an executable that way. So the thing is compilation does not prevent people from stealing your code. There are decompilers. You can, like, I've decompiled Unity games, specifically Beat Saber, which I used to play competitively. I've decompiled that to look for bugs in their stuff. And a lot of people decompile it for other purposes, mainly for modding. But generally speaking, unless you intentionally like obfuscate your code and do other stuff, people can easily just decompile your games. Just being compiled doesn't stop you from looking at your code. Even then, most indie games, people can just take your stuff anyways. Even if you try to obfuscate it, there are ways to just take it. The only surefire way to... Actually, not really. There's not really any perfect solution. The best thing you can do is DRM, where it's network based, and then you obfuscate that portion, I guess. Well, I guess obfuscate all of it if possible, but there's no perfect solution for hiding your code. Generally speaking, though, that is not an issue to be concerned about anyways. People getting your code is not a problem. If anything, it's a good thing, because if they have access to your code easily, it makes your game more moddable, which is really good for games with communities. Yeah. What kind of pathfinding algorithm do I use for enemies in my games? It depends. If it's a platformer, I haven't done anything yet advanced, like that's super advanced. The most advanced thing was the player copy in Vagrant, which I uploaded a couple GIFs of, but the actual pathfinding is pretty much just walk towards the player. In top-down games, I've used A*, which is what you should be using in most cases if you're in a grid context. So for platformers, though, when you have jumping and gravity, A* doesn't quite work. I read up a while ago on a modified version that you can do for platformers. I should probably look into that again sometime. But for the most part, I just use simpler stuff for platformers because it gets funky with gravity. Alright, so my game's code is all just in the files open when I ship. Yes, it is, and that has not been a problem at all. I mean, yes, that's not been a problem. So what has happened is, I mean, people have just taken the game and uploaded it to piracy websites, but that was not because my code was exposed. That was just because I don't have any DRM, which is the case for most indie games. So they just took the executable and uploaded it to the internet, which is what happens to a lot of indie games that get put on Steam. The thing about Steam, which is nice, is that Valve will automatically file, what are they? The DMCA takedown requests. So they'll file them with Google to get the pirated stuff removed from Google. So like if I look up, there's a public database of DMCA requests, and I can, well, for I think for Google, and you can, like, if you search for my games, I think you can see that Valve took down a lot of pirated pages. Well, pages for pirated copies of my games. But yeah, overall, like that's not an issue of code being exposed. That's an issue of not having DRM. And there's not as an indie developer. First of all, some people buy indie games because they have no DRM. Because DRM is just kind of considered invasive and annoying. But also, DRM isn't foolproof. It can get cracked and stuff. Actually, the best way to do DRM is to have it require a network connection, which is what some people do. And you can use Steam that way. If you use their API, you can implement DRM that way. But then it's really dumb if you make a single player game and then you require your players to be connected to the internet to play it. So for the most part, you just don't do DRM, and then people pirate your game, and that's whatever. Can I explain how sockets interact with the game classes in the client? That would take a while to explain it all. The simple explanation is I use the global interpreter lock and share variables between the threads. So my variables are accessible to both the network connection stuff and the actual game, so they can both modify each other. Alright, how to make a simple inventory system. Look at my last 2 streams, I think, for this game, and you can see how I did it pretty much, I think. You're trying to make your own online game in Java. Any tips? I don't have any tips for Java, really. Java, I don't have a ton of experience with. But, I mean, making an online game can involve a lot of different techniques depending on what type of online game you're making. The biggest question is, are you making a real-time online game, or are you making like a turn-based type online game? And then things vary drastically from there. Like, if it's turn-based, you don't even have to make a normal server. You can make a website when you use like API requests, like you saw me doing with the time earlier. Like you can make, for example, Hearthstone you could do without a normal server. Almost. Okay, I think there's some like close to real-time stuff that you gotta be careful about, but for the most part, yeah. Plan on making a comprehensive Pygame tutorial. So I'm working on a course, but I'll also release a very large portion of it, which will be a full project pretty much. Like a full platformer game, as opposed to the weird thing I did in my tutorial where it's just random functionality. But I'm working on a comprehensive Pygame tutorial, yeah. When do I playtest it? What, this game that I'm working on? Why coding in Python over JavaScript? I like the syntax more. But also, there's a bunch of other smaller things, like the pip is significantly better than npm in my opinion. In the description of my face tracking video, I said that I now use media and pipe. Can I please publish my source code? I plan to, but I haven't gotten around to it yet, so not yet. So I have to clean out some stuff to do that properly. Like, I have to, I don't want to send people the code to use my avatar, so I have to clean that out of the code base there. So, that's the problem. I might make another version of my avatar or something. I don't know how I'll do it. Who knows? But I plan on doing it someday. It's just, it takes a bit of work to get released. I can't just publish it, because then there's gonna be a bunch of people who look like me. The on-screen YouTube chat. Oh my goodness. It keeps doing that. I thought I fixed it again. Where it's not there. Is this one? Interesting. Wait a second. It should connect every 2 seconds. I don't know why it fails to reconnect like that. It's so weird. It's like I need to make another application that sits on top of it that just restarts it completely or something dumb like that. I don't know why it can't reconnect half the time. It's the weirdest thing. Hold on. I'm gonna do this manually. I thought that I need to maybe just put a time, like a weight on this. Oh, I can't even kill it. Oh, okay. But we're just gonna have to deal with this broken for today. Kind of, I mean, I'm fixing it now, but it's probably gonna break again. Normally it breaks like every 40 minutes, maybe? Why is it not... Hello? Oh. I'm just dumb. Okay. There we go. It's back. Woo. But yeah, I don't know what the problem there is. I'm using another library, so it's probably a bug in the library to some extent that I'm gonna have to figure out how to work around, which is annoying. I could theoretically write my own interface for YouTube's API, but it's kind of a pain, especially because of their limits. Can you port a Pygame project to Mac or Linux? Yes, you can. I've done it for Linux. You have to have either a virtual machine or the actual machine for whatever you port to. Like just the operating system itself. So I can't port to Mac without starting Mac OS VM or having one myself. But also, there's random annoyances with Mac anyways, and so there's a reason I don't port to it. I always port to Linux though from my bigger stuff. But yeah, it's completely doable to port to just about anything with Pygame. You're trying to make a real-time server. You have a lot of trouble with data being assigned to the wrong values and having very inefficient data reading methods in general. Well, it sounds like you know what your problems are. You just have to look into how to fix this, and that depends on exactly what you did. Alright. What type of network protocol / socket are you using to transfer data between clients? So I'm actually using TCP, which is questionable considering this is a real-time game, but since it's PvE, I can get away with it. Yeah. Alright. So I can move on my list here. So I need to remove disconnected / warped players from clients. All I have to do here, I need to go to the server pretty much. Actually, the warping is the easy part, I think, because I don't think I have detection for when players disconnect yet. Let's see. Oh, here's my server code. So, here I'm gonna see if I have anything in here to keep track of like. Here's the last update, so I can go off of that and be like, it's been long enough. I can remove them, but I think there might be a disconnect thing as well. So I guess I could be like, I could give them like 20 seconds or something. Otherwise, I can use a disconnect thing. So there is a delete function in here. I saw it. There's a delete. So I can just delete players like that. Or from here. Wait, hold on. I actually do see. So in here, I see remove player dev T1. That is me. So the question is, how is that getting called? It should be an easy answer. I can just do remove player. Update. Okay, it automatically disconnects after 15. Easy. So, actually, I'm not going to bother with the disconnect API call yet, because this seems to work fine. So, in here, I can just send out a thing to all the players in the same world and be like, hey, this player disconnected. So to do that, I have to find my... I think it's going to be... Do I have a reference to, like, the thing where I can send stuff? Oh, no, it's in here, I think. I think in the player I can make the call. Yes, queue update. So, I just get all the players in the same world. So literally just for a player in there. I think these are IDs, so player ID. I'm gonna, yeah, it is player ID. So player equals self.player ID, and then player dot queue update, and then I can do hold on. Sorry, I'm back. Alright. From here I can do where is it? So this queue update function. Well, first let me get the parameters here. So it's right here. I can define an update, I guess. This is sending out something to the player the next time they request for general updates. So I can send whatever I want here. I can tell the player all sorts of things. So I'm going to say disconnect, and then I'll give it the player ID. Or wait, yes. I think that's it. Let me see. So I have some other references in here for what this looks like normally. Oh, I need... that's not how I do it actually. Hold up. So I do an ID. So player ID, and then the message ID needs to be disconnect. And then from here, I can go over to my server, or no, my API client. Wait, here. And then I create a new endpoint for this, so I can go at client.callback, and then if oh wait, no, don't create an endpoint. It's in updates. So in here, if update ID is what I'm looking for here, it was disconnect. Alright, from here I need to just remove it. So player ID equals, and then update player ID, I think. Now I can take this player ID and I have to figure out how to remove it from here. So I think it's just player buffers. Pretty sure it's just player buffers. Find project, player buffers. I need to see how I keep track of the different entities. If nope, that's not it. Wait, that's the only time it's accessed. So get entity positions. Oh, it comes from position log. So, and it goes from position log in the buffers. So I need to remove from there def delete player. So player ID. I'm gonna read chat real quick and then I need to use the restroom. Alright. I'm trying to figure out solutions has been headache inducing since the library you have is very primitive and there is not a ton of resources for learning about making online games. So I mean, the sockets library in Python is pretty primitive as well. And yet there aren't a ton of resources. I think there's some stuff out there that's, I think I read some stuff that's pretty good. It's just a bit hard to find. I can't give you any names of resources off the top of my head though, because it's been so long since I've looked at that stuff. A lot of it is just kind of having an intuition for it. So just make simple stuff and you can progress to more complicated things. Just don't overshoot multiplayer games when you get started. Do you become a millionaire from coding? In the US you do. Not most countries, but you can in the US. Or actually millionaire, if you're talking about your local currency, then yes, you do in a lot of countries. But it takes a while in the US because what is it? Median salary is around $100,000 a year. So if you work for a few decades, after taxes and other expenses, you could probably get $1 million pretty easily. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a break for a moment and go use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. It'll just take a bit for my avatar to catch up. My past live streams are in the live streams playlist on my channel. I don't know what you're talking about December 15th for. It gets archived immediately. Is Adam still being supported by developers? No, it's not. Yeah, it's not getting any updates anymore. It still works, but at some point it's probably gonna be a problem. So we'll probably have to switch at some point. And then my two options are pretty much, I think, VS Code and Pycharm. But because I do a lot of stuff that isn't in Python, well, I do stuff that isn't in Python fairly often, so I might as well just go to VS Code. See if my avatar's caught up. No, it's not. Okay, can give it a little bit longer. I really need to fix that bug, and I keep saying I need to fix that bug where the avatar gets behind because the buffer gets too big, but I'm lazy. So, alright. So player buffers, I think this is a dictionary by player IDs. You know what? Let's do this. Print list. The position is also a dictionary, isn't it? Easy. Okay, I do need people to send this stuff over to the server. Alright, wait, no, that's not what I gotta do. But, and then I go to the server? No, I don't. sp-r server to... I can't type potato, I don't know why. I think this is it. Okay. Should be good. Now I restart the server. And theoretically, it should tell me when someone disconnects. But for that, I need to pull up another command prompt because I need two clients here. This is where I'm gonna disable my scene switching so that you guys can see what happens here. So I start up to our first one, so alright. So here's the first instance here. Now I switch the user ID, pull up the second one. Wait, I just noticed, I don't think I wrote any code for how to... I thought... Did I write any code here? No, it just grabs the player ID. So in here, client data dot delete player ID. So now I can start that thing up, and then you did see the two accounts there though, so this is the networking going on. It just crashed. Why is it trying to... So there's some interesting stuff happening here. It's like... Wait a second. Is it because it's trying to reconnect? Oh, it is. So... Server wasn't happy. Lots of errors. So it kept trying to... remove the player that didn't exist. Line 88. Let's see where that is. So it was calling here. How is it getting the reference to it if it doesn't exist? Wait, let me see. Calls login. 156 in login. Interesting. Huh. So in the login thing, it deletes previous instances. I need to find the first error here because that's where things really went wrong. Well, actually, technically, I don't understand. So remove is not in there. Oh wait. Hold up. This code was already here. Why does it not work now? I'm confused. Cause all I did. Oh. That's a dumb move. Hold up. Or no, that's not a dumb move. Is it? Wait. Maybe it's because they deleted all the players from that world and the world got deleted? Maybe? Let's see. Delete. Nope. What is it? Empty out the world. Well, it doesn't fully ever delete it. So, okay, so what happened here? Well, first of all, login removes the copy and creates a new one, so that shouldn't be the issue. So let's take a look at this error again. We got called update, 178 in update. I think that's just a part where it's been too long. Yeah, it's been 15 seconds. So it wants to remove. This code was already there. Why is it crashing now? What? Or, oh, is that player ID incorrect or something? Or 120. Oh, I mean, is this the code that was there before? What happened? Okay, this is not gonna work. If the player's removed... Oh, no, this is the existing, the remaining players. Oh wait, this functions for something else. Because this is just removing them from the world. What? Hold up. So they get removed from the world. That just removes them from the world, doesn't do anything else. Same thing's called here. I need to actually delete the player too. Tell players. I guess it's that. Is that enough? What does delete do? Oh, I just removed it from the world. Interesting. So, I mean, I could start it up again and just watch what happens. So, okay. I might just start it up again, add some print statements here and figure out what's going on. So, I can print out Print players in world. Just dump that. And then send the code over, I guess. Alright. Oh, I forgot about my avatar. I can turn that on now, definitely. There we go. And then in my other thing, I can kill that, restart the server. And then pull up my other thing here. Alright, so I can go here. I think, wait, was it because I started two things on the same account? That could reasonably cause it. Yeah, that was not it, apparently. Watch it just not happen again. I wouldn't be surprised. Why is it Windows being bugged out, getting bugged out? Where's the other user? Oh, he's dead right there. Alright, so I guess I just come over here and wait to see if he disappears. I can die if I want. So I can take this, and then I just plug this one. I kill it. Okay. I can see that the connection was dropped, so I have to wait for it to get removed, which is 15 seconds. So it should be almost there. And it crashes. Okay. I'm gonna kill the server. And I have a bit more information to work with here. You have to make a game for college coursework. My tutorials are useful in teaching you the fundamentals. That's interesting. I guess for maybe 2D games it works. There's a lot of stuff I teach in my tutorials that isn't applicable if you're using a game engine like physics. Alright. So remove the player, the first one. Here are the players in the world. What? This is a different error. Nearest is the nearest player. What happened here? Nearest equals self dot nearest player. World, consider position. If the player how is it pulling nearest? Okay, so the nearest might be a bug here. I was not expecting to run into these issues, but that's how these things go. So, wait, where was that nearest code? So we have nearest player is 151 in entities. I don't. That comes from the player tracker though. So nearest player comes from world players. Hello. That should be removing the player from that world. Wait, no, that's the wrong thing. It's this one. So the player should be removed from the world. It finds a nearby player, and then it finds out that nearby player doesn't exist. I think. If I'm reading that right. Wait, no, it's coming from the player tracker. It's this line right here that's crashing. So first you check if the world is valid, which it is. Why? Also, what was this being used for? Oh, this is being used by the eyeballs. So, why is it that it's in the world players, but not in the thing that the player uses, the players? It should be gone. What? Okay, here's what I do. You print there. You print self.players. You just keep printing, and eventually you'll figure it out. That's how things generally go. A debugging tool would probably be helpful here, but I don't feel like it. I don't use debugging tools. So start up that one, and start up this one. Alright, so both the players are here. So now I have to close the other one. This one specifically. And then I wait 15 seconds, and then I should get the error again. Which should pop up here. Alright. Cool, I got it again. So now I do a little bit of reading. Okay. So it successfully removed it. Where's the problem? It's a different error this time. It removed the wrong player. How did that happen? Look. This is the ID that I have here. This is the ID I have here. This is the players, and according to like there's just the dictionary of the ID mappings for players. This is the players in the world before the removal. This is the players in the world after the removal. So that it removed the wrong thing. So I have to look at here and see which one got removed and why. What? I am very confused. Because I use player ID for both of these here. Dot remove player ID. Del player ID. How? What? I mean, I see where the problem occurs, but I don't see how that happens. What the... That's impressive. Oh, this is how that happened. This for loop. That broke everything. Other player ID. I'm stupid. Here we go. Problem solved. I can almost guarantee that fixes that issue, but I wouldn't be. It's highly likely there are more issues to run into here. We will see. I don't know if nope, I got the database password wrong. Okay, so now I start it up again. And then start up this one. And then I'll read the chat when I'm waiting for the 15 seconds, probably. Okay, both are connected. I just gotta pull up the other one here. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. I need this one. So close that. And then I can pull up this. I can see the connection has dropped, and then I can just wait. Or it's also possible that it disappears here. It says it removed it. I didn't get a crash. That's good. Oh wait. What? Am I? Hold on. I'm gonna check something real quick. So dev T1 is, wait, so the player that was left is whatever player I get whenever I do this. So let's see what I get here. Did it remove the wrong player? I wouldn't be surprised if I messed that up again. Okay, so it removed the correct, wait, no. That's the one that was, it removed. What? Unless I... Oh, no, that's correct. I just need to do, if player ID in self.position log, del self.position log player ID. If player ID in self.player buffers. And then I do the same thing, but for the player buffers. And I think that's it. Player buffers, that's good enough. The other stuff will automatically get updated. I don't know what you're saying remove self for. Deep copy problem? Nope. Have I ever beaten Terraria? I've gotten pretty far in Terraria. I mean, I've done the Wall of Flesh, so I've gotten into the post game or whatever. And I've done extra stuff in there. So I've played a bit of Terraria, but not like a ton. Which is funny because most of my streams I'm using music from the Terraria mod, even though I haven't played the mod. It's just the music's good. I am not using Java. Where'd you get that from? What? I think it says in the title that I'm using Python. Okay, let's see if it disconnects now. This is probably one of the more tedious things to test. So I take this one, I close that, and then theoretically that thing should disappear after 15 seconds. Theoretically. Theoretical is a big word. So once it says... What? Okay. What is the problem there? So it says it removed it. Not quite what I intended. So in here, something went wrong. So it calls delete player. I think we confirmed that works. Print remove player ID, and then I just go over to here, print A, print B, and then start that up, and then we start this up. Alright, now we just disconnect this one. Did it disconnect the wrong one? I don't know. Now we just wait for the server to say that it's, oops. Server says it's removed. I don't see it removed. I see the, move that. Oh. Haha, I know what happened. So there's this funny thing I have going on where I have public IDs and private IDs. The private IDs are what the private IDs are what the clients tell the server they are, so the server knows it's the actual correct person sending the information. The public IDs are what are used more publicly so that players can communicate with each other and like they know who is who. Because you don't want to send out the private ID to the other players, because otherwise they can just modify the data they're sending and impersonate the other player. So to fix that, I just gotta go over to the server here. Wait, no. Here? Here. This hat needs to be the public ID of the player. I think I just go to ID map? Maybe? Let's look for its use cases. Wait. Where's ID map used? So here, it's assigned here. So the private ID is mapped to the public ID. So right in I do self.id map player ID, and then that should be the correct ID to remove, I think. This game's going to be free. Yeah, if I make any online games, they should be free, because otherwise, how am I going to get a player base? Yeah, the objective is to make it so they can't. I mean, it's sort of a cheating thing, but I'm more so focusing on preventing the cheating that's an annoyance to other players. Cheating to benefit yourself has a limit, and first of all, it's obvious to the other players when you're doing it. The way I'm planning on structuring this. The other thing is, hold on. Let's start up the other thing. So the other thing with cheating is that, yeah, well, so it's limited to just the things that are like don't bother other players. It only benefits you, and it benefits you kind of in a minor way. So it's not really worth it to cheat, and then I'll probably have like in-game reporting or something. So I want this one. I need to close this one, and then hopefully it'll finally delete. Maybe, we'll see. And then if this works, I need to like turn off these eyeball spawns so that I can go. Wait, did it not? Did it actually not? What? It didn't remove it. I'm surprised. I was expecting it to work that time. Well, okay, back to the good old print player ID. Make sure I got the right one. Print the list of this. Print A. Print. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't send the new data to the server. I'm done. Let's go. Okay, so I send that new data, and then I need to restart the server. And then now it should work, maybe? Just removing another player from existence is being a lot harder than it should be. Alright. So I have my 2 accounts here. So I think this is the one I delete. And then I wait for the server to say it deleted it. And then see if it deleted. It didn't delete. Bruh. I see the public ID this time. Is that an integer as opposed to a string? Is that what happened here? That has to be what happened. That's funny. Actually, wait. I'm gonna do it over. Are the player IDs typically strings? I don't even know. So I'll close that. I'm gonna check and make sure. Like, I'm gonna look at where this should be good. Change player, change world. Where's the part where position? Let's come from position log here. Shouldn't that not be a string? Or shouldn't it rather be whatever type? What? I don't know what happened here. So I'm not sure where the string version of the name comes from, or like, does it maybe say here? It does not say here. So like right here, we're all, where's the ID map? Because this is where I'm getting it from. The public ID is probably coming in as an integer. So the question is, the part of my stuff that's populating the position log, is that coming in as a string? So for that, I can go over here, go to position, literally just print payload. And then I start the game, and then it'll tell me like what I'm getting here. Alright, I need the second player. Okay. That does in fact come in as a string. So the question is why, and should it? I'm going to go with that was an accident, but I'm also going to say that I don't care that much. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go player ID equals string player ID, and that should theoretically fix the problem. Alright, so move over here, Go to the other one. Close it. And then we sit here, pull up the server, and wait. And maybe it'll finally remove. I don't know. How long have I been doing this? Trying to get the player to disappear? That's sad. Oh my goodness, it didn't happen again. Well, this time it deleted. That's good news. Or rather, it ran this code. And now I'm just confused. So the A and B means it ran these two delete calls, and for these to even be reached in the first place, they have to exist. And they're the only. There's only one other person here, so why didn't they disappear? I was pretty sure. Wait, do I just like create the object and it stays there? So entities. Here we go. No, that's the original player. Is this where this comes in? So there's a thing here somewhere, maybe. Is this where it's coming from? Where are the other players coming from? Okay, so actually what I'm gonna do here is see where this is used. This is probably the best trick here. So in networking it does this. Okay. So sponsor, okay. And then what I have to do in here, how should I do this? I can do it by motion. Or wait, no, that's not correct. Oh boy. So I have to keep track of which other players were not updated. So for entity in this dot and the alternative is I can do dot last update equals time.time. This doesn't have to be server time. And then I just go over to this and do self.last update equals time.time import time, and then on the update, do I have a return false thing for entities? Or I can delete them? Or do I have to like do something funky here? How do I delete one? I have a spawn. Or so I have the entities list and entities map. So I need to remove it from the entities list and then remove from the, okay. So I can go over to here. It's like very base level. So I'm going to go here, I guess, and then add a delete entity. self entity. So literally just do that, and then also self.entities.remove entity, and then I think, can I do def delete self rt.node entities.remove entity self. I think that's correct. That's delete, not remove. Alright. So it removes the entity from the entities list and the map. So I think that's it. So now I need to call the delete function. How was I removing? Hold up. I gotta see how I was removing the eyeballs. It's gotta be in here somewhere. Updates kill, I think. Oh, I just hard-coded it. Okay. So on the delete player, where's that? What? I forgot, what was that been called? Client data. So literally just, ooh. Actually, rather than tracking, I can just forcefully delete it. With the... No, I don't have the unique ID for the entity though, do I? Or is the unique ID the... Where's the part where it spawns it? Okay. It does not use the actual same ID. So I'm gonna have to do it automatically in here. And then what I'm gonna do is where do I... Here, wait. This is what I'll do. It's tricky to remove this stuff the way I have it disconnected. This is where I'm getting into some spaghetti, because I didn't look and think about this beforehand. So, over here, I'm gonna have a self dot... Oh, I have the position last call. And then so update time equals time.time. I want it to be the same for all. And then actually self.last entity move time equals 0 is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use this instead. And then so now I know from in the entities, rather here, if the last update, does not equal self.nd or wait, rt.node actually, yeah, networking dot grab this does not equal that, I don't need that extra self. And then self.delete. That should be that's the correct. The concept works. I'll say that. So the real question is, how many mistakes did I make in there? Oh wait, no, that's not. I need to change the ID. This is being significantly more of a hassle than originally intended. Okay. Problem number one, did not work. Immediately got deleted. So wait, hold up. Entity 0 is the ID, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, time to remove all those spaghetti. I thought I didn't have the entity ID being used as the actual ID. So I can go over to all this random junk with the timer and remove that. Okay, remove this, and then we get over here and literally just grab the entity ID. And then call delete on it. That needs access to, and I'll drop the code here. And then I need, this is not a reference node, it needs the this. So I go over here, take that, and then I can do rt.node from the entities, remove player ID, or from here it calls that delete theoretically, which then actually I saw it in action. It does actually delete because I couldn't see the other player there because it was just always deleting for some reason. So that should work. If player ID in this, then it deletes, and then I print C. I should be getting close to dealing with this stupid problem. Alright. Here we go. So remove that one. Now I wait to see if he disappears. Should be in any moment now. Yes, it worked! It's not there anymore. He's gone. Problem solved. Yay. Now I remove all these print statements, and then I need to do the same thing for warping, which is going to be tricky because I have to turn off the entity spawning in the server. I think there's an easy way to do that though. Like the eyeballs need to stop spawning. There's like a spawn rate stat there or something. I don't know how it does it. It's probably in here. Oh no, it's like an events or something dumb like that, isn't it? Yep. So, all I gotta do here, that'll stop it from spawning. And then the other part is I have to tell the server, well, I have to make the server tell the other clients when someone warps so they disappear. So the warping, literally, I think I just go to server, look at change world. No, not that one, this one. Actually, I do need to be careful about, I guess anytime change world's called. So I go over to the player tracker, I guess, and then look for change world. And then, if the world is different, is that a thing is that a check I have here? So if that's not the case, and if this does not equal world ID, then I need to tell everyone in this world for other player ID in that world, I need to tell them that that player just left, which is this. Is player being used here? I don't know what player is in. Okay. So player equals the player there. So I'm going to, if other player ID does not equal player ID, because I haven't deleted it yet, notify other players that the player changed worlds. So I'm not gonna bother with a different animation thing right now. Remove from current world. And then, wait, hold up here. What is that? Is this a mistake? Oh no, it's not. So I'm telling the other players that this player disconnected. I think that's correct. So, resend over the code. Start the server. I have way too many things open here. I'm just gonna close everything and I'll open them up again if I need them. Alright, I'm gonna read chat real quick while I wait. How long have I been developing this game? Technically for like half a year, but I just do it whenever I feel like it. So hour-wise, it's like what, maybe 40 or 50 hours, maybe a bit more. Okay, so I disabled the spawns of the enemies, which means we can. You guys, this is the first time this stream. I've done it in previous streams where you're gonna get to see me warp. Well, I changed the tile images. I don't know. There'll at least be new artwork. It's not all gonna just look like this. Alright. Have I worked with WordPress? No. Or Drupal? No. Aren't those like old things that people don't really use nowadays? Or at least it's not the modern way people make things, make websites. What's the editor name? Adam. Alright. Time to go on an adventure. So, it's like over this way. I have this world memorized. Well, or at least part of it. Alright. Okay, this is the account that I have the funny gun on. Okay, I'm almost there. This arrow's pointing to it. So from here, I can actually warp. So I can press E. And then like go to different places. But I need to make sure that the player disappears when they warp. So I'm gonna have to take this player over there and make sure that this actually works. Almost there. Okay, we're getting closer. Here we are. So, on this screen on the left, you should see the one on the right disappear when I warp. That's the objective. So I can warp to like here, and hopefully it disappears. Yes, it works. Cool. So it disappeared from the one on the left. And then if I go to the same world, I don't remember, was it this one? I was not paying attention. I'm gonna take a random guess. I could be wrong. There's a very high chance I'm wrong. Yeah, I got the wrong world. They're now in different worlds. Anyways. So this is done now. So the last thing I wanted to do today is sync the inventory. So all I gotta do is just essentially send my entire inventory to the server and be like, hey, I wanna update my inventory. And all I have to check on the server side is make sure that it was just a reorganization and that it's all the same items. And yeah. I'm trying to think of the best way to do that, because otherwise you can modify stats. I guess the other option is So rather than just completely overwriting the server's inventory, what I'm going to do is just look at the layout, I guess, and then try to match it up. Make sure the items exist. Part of the problem is where the counts are gonna work. So I have to look at the number of items and their counts and make sure that adds up. So you can't have any more or any less when you reorganize your inventory. So what it'll be, so in here I have my inventory, so I should be able to just send this to the server and be like, hey, I want to reorganize my inventory, and that should happen whenever I move something in my inventory, which I can check down here, move item. So whenever move item occurs, I want to do self.nd networking.client.make request ID sort inventory inventory equals I think it's just client data, and then .inventory, something like that. And here's where you get to see me write a new endpoint for once on the server. So the endpoint is sort inventory. So I'll just drop it wherever. There's not really much organization here. I'll have to probably organize it this someday. So we have a sort inventory endpoint. Take our payload. We get our player from the user ID. Oh, I need to pass that. Hold up. You can't, because if I don't specify user ID here, it's just anonymous. So user ID equals self.nd state, and then it's dot something. I think I should have this info in here. state.userid. And then over here, so it gets the player from the user ID I send it. Now, this is where I have to do the inventory stuff. So the new inventory equals payload inventory. Old inventory equals the player.inventory. So what I have to do here is check and make sure they're the same, or like that it's a valid change to the layout of the inventory. So I think the way I'm gonna do this is I just count up like maybe I do like a summary thing, because it's an issue of sorting. Or wait, hold on. No, I do actually have to kind of go in deep and check every single argument here. Oh boy. Is there a good way to like map out the data in a dictionary? I'm trying to think. I might have to write a function to like hash dictionaries and stuff, like JSON in general, because there's not an easy way to compare these, I don't think. Maybe? Well, let's do a little test here. So let's take A equals A1 B3 C D 3 Q L. So we get this mess of a data structure, and then can we say B equals this same thing, and we do A is B, we get a true. Interesting. But if I do B A1 B equals 2, and I print out B and then do A is B, it's not different. Okay, so I guess Python does automatically in the comparison go all the way down. I thought it didn't. I thought with dictionaries it would do a reference check to see if they're the same reference, but I guess it doesn't, which is convenient. The reference check would definitely occur if I did is instead of the equal to, so I can, when I say is, I mean this. But I guess if that works, all I have to do is check and make sure all the items are the same, and then make sure that's a reorganization. This does get more complicated when I start to deal with like stacks and stuff. But for now I think I can just go if all the items are the same. Or if there is a matching item. The question is, how do I find the item to match it with? So the inventory structure is you get 3 slots, well, 3 categories. You get the weapons, you get your bag, and you get your other things, which is supposed to be for building, which I'm not using yet. And then in that, there's the items, which have like an item type. And then if they're weapon, they have a unique ID for tracking from the server. And they have a couple other things, like XP and level for weapons, custom names, modifications. For non-weapons, you got counts. So the thing is if the non-weapons don't have a unique ID, so I can't map them that way. I think the best way for me to do this is go if the item has a unique ID. Yeah. I know I'm gonna do this. Hold on. I just have to fix some funny data that I have here that won't work with this system. So if you noticed earlier, I briefly showed my inventory. You probably don't remember, but I briefly showed my inventory. there was in my inventory I had a few different flesh things, and one had like 5, and then the other 2 were 1 each, like in terms of stacks. And where's my... So it's one of these 2. So there's this one. Why so many notifications? So this one doesn't have anything. This is the one I gotta fix. So I just gotta delete these 2 things. So normally this shouldn't be able to happen where you have it stacked in 2 different places, but that was just because I was developing it. I think it's this current document only. Run. Okay. So that should fix that issue. So item map equals this. For item in for group in old inventory. Item map. For item in old inventory group, and then that gives me the items. If how's this done? So in the player tracker, I have a thing that shows me how the items work. So I'm looking for unique ID. This is on the weapons. If this is in item, then this is a weapon or whatever. But I can do item map, item unique ID equals item. I guess technically, if the client says that if the client says that the item doesn't exist, actually it seems risky. It sounds like a way to introduce bugs where you accidentally lose items. So I guess I go one by one and delete them as I go, and then make sure that the list is empty when I'm done. So otherwise though, item map, and then I go item. Oh, what is it? Is it type or ID? ID equals item. So I just trying to have unique identifiers for everything here. And then for item, so that creates the item map, and then I'll go for the new inventory. For I'm gonna use the same groups as the old inventory. That just makes sure that the client doesn't add new inventory groups for some dumb reason. So for item in new inventory, and then I want to go group, and then I do this. I have to go that, and then I go if item map item unique ID is item, then item map, well, I need to delete that listing from here. Otherwise, if, and then I just use this one. If that listing is the item in the new inventory, then I can delete the new, well, I can delete this. And now the goal here is, is there a len, is this a thing? That's not valid syntax. Okay, so if not len item map at that point, that means that all of the items that were in the new inventory were in the old inventory, and vice versa. It's all one-to-one. So, well, how do I... So... I need to make it so that if the item doesn't... Hold up. So in any other case where it doesn't reach this case, wait, so I go valid equals true. If it doesn't match to an item, then we've got a problem. Actually, no, that's on the item level. So if you get down here and you're like, if valid is false, then the whole thing doesn't make any sense anymore. So you just return an empty thing at that point. Otherwise though, if you get down here and you find that everything was matched, you can update the inventory. So player.inventory. I gotta do it by group just in case there was injection. For group in old inventory, player.inventory group equals new inventory group. This is very spaghetti, I guess. Make sure inventories have the same items. And then it'll let you do that. Okay. Oh, and then also the extra thing here is that I have to save the inventory. I think that's just not save. Wait, where is it? There's a way to save the inventory. Save inventory here. Player.save inventory. And then, well, chances are this doesn't work, but you never know. I need to update the thing just to add the endpoint over here. I just gotta go at client callback, sort inventory, dev, sort inventory, payload SSC, pass, just do nothing with it. Okay. Let's see, this probably will not work. I would probably be willing to bet money on the fact that this will not work. But it should be close. I'll be very surprised if this works. I'll read chat in a moment here once I test this. So, ha! It crashed. It didn't even make the request to the server. That's funny. How? Oh, do I not pass the ID? Is that how that works? I can go to networking and check. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Here it is. Yeah, I don't pass the ID. I just go. I take all that out, and then I just go boop. That's how that works. Kill server, run it again, and start this up, and I'll read chat here. Alright. Would I recommend Pygame to someone who knows very little about Python but wants to make a game? Depends what you're trying to do. I made a video, like, just look up my getting into game dev, what is, I forgot, beginners, wait. I have a video about how to get into game dev if you're a beginner. And then I think in there I make some statements about what you should consider, like, but generally speaking, yeah, I mean, if you're interested in Pygame itself, sure, go ahead. But also, If you plan on going into game development as a career, you should probably be using game engines. If you're planning on going into software engineering, but you just want to make games for fun, Pygame's perfectly fine, and actually you'll probably benefit more from that in terms of software engineering. So it's a mixed situation, depending on what you want to do. When you go down far enough, does the game put you at the very top? No, it doesn't. You can go down pretty far though. It's a long way down. It doesn't loop. I don't have performance issues with Python. What are you talking about? What? Python will not be faster than C++. I don't know what you're talking about. So, your recommendation to go from Unity to Pygame to go down... Well, you're making the you're implying that Unity is easier than Pygame, which is not true. Getting into Pygame is a lot easier than Unity. There's more problem solving involved, so for some people it will be harder to make the same game. Actually, in a lot of cases it will be. Like a lot of the things are easier in Unity. So going from Unity to Pygame, like, it should be the other way around. If you're having trouble with Pygame, you start with Unity. Sorry. No, if you're having trouble with Unity, you can start with Pygame. But for the most part, at the amateur level of game development, Unity is going to be easier for most things you want to do. Pygame's just very easy at the very beginning, for the very basic things you would want to do. The benefit is that you're doing more problem solving and then you get more control. Oh, I got one of those bots again. It took a bit today. Oh, I forgot, I gotta... Reporting actually deletes them. There we go. Stupid bots. Is this the pre-connection, and is it secure and encrypted? No, it's TCP and it's unencrypted. There's nothing that needs to be, there's nothing sensitive that needs to be encrypted here. If you get middlemanned and someone hijacks your session into the game, and they just start playing as you, that's your problem. I do not care. But there's no sensitive information that'll affect you outside of the game if someone, like, intercepts your connection. But yeah, it's TCP though, which is easier to work with. Have I ever written a Minesweeper game? No. Does Pygame use SL2 natively nowadays? Yes, that is the default, I think, if you install it. Not a whole lot of people use Pyglet nowadays. Yeah, there are, you can find Minesweeper games written in Python online, it's not hard. Yeah. I think my chat died. Yeah, it did. This is getting obnoxious. The fact that I can't... this one, right? It actually... I don't know why this is such a pain. I'll try out... If I can't find an actual solution for the next stream, I'm just gonna go back to the old chat while I figure it out. So, streaming for... I've only been streaming for 2.5 hours. It's not that long. My streams are normally 3 hours. And actually, once it... Oh, why did it stop that? I shouldn't have stopped Yes, TCP is slow, but the trick is that it doesn't matter. Uh-oh. I forgot what that means. Did that mean something specific? I forgot what it means in my library. So the host... What? I don't know, I'll look at that in a moment. But yeah, depending on the type of game you're making, most real-time multiplayer games you use UDP. I'm just using TCP because I can get away with it because it's PvE. I just have to be careful about a couple things. Could you make a video on how to manage bigger projects? I probably will at some point, just not right now. Alright, so there's some generic step I missed here. When this error occurs, I keep forgetting what this one means. It means I forgot something dumb. So... Well, I mean, at least the good news is the server got the request to update the inventory. So there's that. Ooh. So line 51 in here. So the response ID equals a message ID. Oh, I didn't return a value in the server. Well, that's good news. That means that it didn't hit this case. So I'm gonna kill that. I'm gonna send over the new server code. And then, let's see if this works. Come on. Oh, it did work because it updated it before. Okay, hold on. Let me log on the other user with all the items. This is the one I grinded on that I have the other gun on. Alright, you guys haven't really seen me play the... Oh wait, hold on. I just noticed I don't have the... I'm gonna fix the enemy spawn rates here. Gonna turn the enemies back on. So... Nope, that's the wrong thing. I don't want that. Nope. I want the server code. Okay, server's running. Here we go. So I'm on a user with all the items now. Enemies should spawn. So there's this thing where it updates your inventory because you get XP when you kill enemies. But now, like before it would move this gun out of my inventory because it wasn't updated properly. And it stayed, which is a good sign. So I can grab these two items here. And theoretically all this stuff should persist. So I can close this. And then start it up. Theoretically, the layout of my inventory should be the same. It is, cool. So, inventories are syncing properly. Finally. That was one of the biggest annoyances in the inventories. I'm surprised this is working. I could try spoofing it, just to double check, but I think the code should be good. How could I spoof? Wait. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to give myself another item. So I'm going to go other 0 plus equals 1 and see if it catches that. If it doesn't, then I got a problem. So on the inventory, when I move something, I'm going to go self.inventory bag 0 count plus equals 1. So theoretically the server should reject this because I modified my inventory in a way that the server doesn't agree with. So, boop, boop. So you see there's 9 there. So, quick check to see if it was rejected. Kill something, it'll update my inventory, and it goes back down to 7. So it did reject that. The other thing I gotta check, can I add an item myself? So, let me see how items respond here. Do I have like a generic item thing? I know that over here in the damage it generates new items. Calculate drops. Spawn entity location. Where's the item? So it drops XP weapon. Oh, I know it's on pickup. And give item data. Entity item data. Oh, it spawns with the entity. Where's this coming from? I mean, I think that there was code in here for it. No? Okay. Where could this code be? So it could be in here, I guess. Okay, item. So it's just ID and count, I guess. So all I have to do so inventory bag to append ID flesh count 1. If the server rejects this, then I should be good to go for the inventory stuff. So let's see. This is a good example of anti-cheat if you're curious, by the way. So every time I move this, it should give me a new thing here. It crashed? That's funny. Okay, got a key error. But you know what? That's fine. Because that shouldn't be happening unless you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Although actually maybe there's some edge case where the client and the server disagreed on something, but I think for the most part right now it should be 100% synced. Anyways, I could just add a key error exception there. But I mean, crash is fine. I'll leave it for now until it becomes a problem. I'm gonna restart again, make sure I deleted everything properly, and then that should be good. So just move this back and forth. I can move it down, restart this, and make sure that it's in the bottom, and then I can move it back up and it'll be done. So move back up, and you can see it's got all my stats here. Cool. Alright, I will read chat, and I think that'll be it for today because my voice is not doing too great because I'm coming off of a cold. For the next stream, I will be doing, so if you notice the eyeballs just pop up everywhere and it becomes really excessive very quickly. So I will update those spawns. There are some minor bugs to fix here. Then I need to add visual effects, and then I need to add ping tracking for players. Actually, the visual effects are going to come last. I think this might be the, I think this is the order I want to work on it. Well, work it on it for, wait, yeah. So this is what I'm going to do next week, and then by the end, hopefully by the end of the stream of next week, I would be ready to do another playtest. So if you're in my Discord server, I'll probably do another playtest shortly after that stream. Maybe it'll be a couple days, maybe it'll be the same day, who knows. But yeah, I'm gonna take a look at chat here before I end the stream. So if you have any questions, ask them now. Alright. Could you make a... Oh, no. read that. You use TCP for multiplayer as well, no issues. You benchmark it just fine. I mean, it is slower. Like ping wise, you're gonna there's more latency. So if you're not doing a real time game, yeah, definitely use TCP. And then I can only get away with it because of the fact that I'm making a PvE game, even though it's real time. It won't. Yeah. So the Chinese stuff doesn't show up in the chat because it's using my font that I drew myself. And obviously, I mean, just look at it. How would you fit Chinese characters in there? I think most characters are like 3 by 6 pixels or something like that. Can you make an Android game with Pygame? Yes. Also, as the other person said, Kiwi's also an option. Read the description if you want the editor and text. What stops me from teaching? I'm assuming that's in response to some random thing I said a while ago that I forgot about. Alright. What? Change tile images? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? For the time being, not yet. It depends how far this project goes. Because this is just a for fun thing. I'm not committed to finishing it at all. I'm not super interested in looking at other people's code for multiplayer stuff right now. Like I said, because mine gets the job done. If you make your own like open source networking library, maybe I'd look. But if it's not open source, I'm not really interested. Yeah. I just noticed that if I lean back... Wait, oh no, that's just my mouse tracking wasn't working when I was leaning back, which was weird. I can open my mouth all the way. I'm opening my mouth all the way, but it doesn't open. That's so weird. So that's an interesting bug. So I guess I need to not lean back. It seems, I don't know if it's media pipe or my code, but for some reason my mouth does not open if I'm leaning too far back. So I guess I need to actually lean forward here if I'm closer to my desk and not like laying down in my chair. The mouse tracking is a lot better. How far this is? I've got like an elbow's length to my tips of my fingers to my elbow between my face and my webcam right now, which is normal, I think. Yes, you can make Android games with Pygame. I have not done it because I don't care to make mobile games. It doesn't interest me. There are people who have done it, I think. Or there are people who know how to do it. I don't know any examples of it being done because I haven't looked before. But I know it can be done, and I know there are people. I know some people that know how to do it. I don't know if they've released anything themselves. Join the Pygame community Discord server. You can probably ask around in there and find out how to do it. You can also Google it. I think there's resources for how to do it, maybe. If you want names, there's a guy called Blubberquark. I think he knows how to do it, if I remember correctly. So yeah. Is it viable to make an RTS in Pygame? Yes, it is. So actually, when it comes to drawing things on a bunch of things on the screen, Pygame's pretty fast if they're low resolution. So that's what you have to keep in mind. It's just a difference between the way software and GPU-based rendering work. So I can have. Do I have? I think I can pull up an example here. Hold on, I'm gonna pull up an example. I have. Do I say how many particles this is? Hold on. So look, you can have a ton of stuff on screen. Look at this. I was messing around with particles. You can have tons of stuff. What you have to think about is how many pixels are you rendering. Well, also, it's how many pixels are you rendering, and then also, does this get more extreme? I think it does. Yeah, this is where it gets funny. So look at all those particles, and I'm just staying around 30 FPS, and it goes up quickly as they disappear. So, oh my goodness, these bots. How, like, I need to get like one of the moderators in my I don't know if the moderators in my Discord server actually watch my streams. So, man, I don't have any chat mods, so I have to delete those things myself, which is really annoying. But yeah, like, you can render tons of stuff. It's just high resolution, you start to run into problems if you're running like a bunch of high resolution things. So generally where you run into problems is if you're doing like parallax. So parallax, if you're doing like 1080p parallax, so you got a full resolution game and you're doing parallax, that can become a problem. But number of things is not really an issue unless you're writing bad code. So for the most part, you can get away with a lot. And you can make just about any type of game as long as it's 2D. Why are those Apple Store games so incredible looking? What? Is it because they employ artists? Yeah, that would be the main thing. Art goes a long way. Like, you can look at my games. Hold on. Because if you think about it, the code doesn't make most of the visuals unless you're using shaders. So, in my case here, you look at this game, for example. Okay, some of this is code generated, but most of it is artwork. So this looks a lot better than, say, you go back to one of my older games, like this one. So artwork goes a long way, and obviously I could still get better at artwork. So art is a big part of what makes these things look good. So, yep. If you convert my games into an Android game, please don't publicly release that. Wait. What was the license on Aeroblaster? Hold on. No, I don't think I have a repository for it. Do I? No, I don't. Aeroblaster... I forgot what the license is. There's a less restrictive license on Aeroblaster. You're gonna have to read it. I can't remember if you're allowed to do that or not. But Wandering Soul, you definitely can't publish that. You can convert it on your own if you want to, but if you release it, that's gonna be a problem. Here's a Pygame subset for Android. Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked too much into it either. I just know it's possible. Yeah. You're new to game dev. Do I think that Pygame is a good start to then move to Godot or Unity? I would say if your intent is to do Unity or Godot, only start with Pygame if you're having a hard time with Unity or Godot. But you do need to consider, do you really want to be using Unity or Godot? And that depends on a lot of things, like depends on what type of stuff you want to make, depends on whether you want to go into game development industry or software engineering, and I mentioned this earlier in the stream, there's lots of stuff to consider there. You don't understand how I optimize running OpenGL? In this project, the rendering is all straight up normal Pygame. You don't optimize rendering normally with OpenGL. You can add shaders with OpenGL, but you generally don't optimize. If you use all OpenGL, that can be faster. But if you're mixing them, generally, your performance comes from just writing good code. So yeah, with Pygame, you just write good code and you can do a lot of stuff. I might make a video sometime, just like common errors. I think I did cover a bunch of common errors though in my what is it? Is Pygame slow video? I think is what it was called, or something. Or maybe I called it Why is Pygame slow, or I don't know. The video I have about Pygame being slow, I covered a bunch of the stuff you have to take it into account to write performant games. Just like a bunch of random small mistakes you could make, and then I mentioned briefly some stuff about optimization. There are Pygame STL2 forks for GPU rendering. Yeah, so Pygame 2 already supports GPU rendering. I think it's just not documented. So if you look at there's STL2 has something called textures, I think, as opposed to surfaces, and that's like for GPU based rendering. With, I guess it's sitting on top of OpenGL, but it's always like hardware accelerated. I don't know if it's using OpenGL or not. But yeah, so STL2 like the one in Pygame 2, which is the version I'm using right now, and I think it's the default if you install it, the stuff is there to do GPU based rendering. It's just not documented. Those forks were from before that functionality was added to Pygame, so those forks are just kind of obsolete now, almost. The only reason they're not completely obsolete yet is just because the documentation isn't really there for Pygame 2. Is 3D possible with Pygame? Yes, it is. Here, I'll show you. And then also, if you go to my last stream, you can use OpenGL with Pygame to do full proper 3D, which I can also show you. But you can also do fake 3D with Pygame if you know the math for it. So I just have to get down far enough here, and then there's a 3D part to this game. I wish I had the dash like Vagrant, I could go so much faster. So over here, here's the 3D part of this game. So you can like travel, like the world's in 3D space, so you travel between worlds in 3D space like that. And this is all in Pygame. So I'm just doing this with math and primitive shapes. My avatar on the screen right now, the thing talking to you, that's done in Pygame. Now what you can't do is texture things, and if you want to texture things, you gotta mix Pygame with OpenGL, and for that, where did I put this? I think it's okay, I'm gonna have to wait for a moment for this to load. But 3D, I wouldn't say it's not smart either. It's perfectly valid to use it in your games. Like for the pseudo 3D thing, the way I used it in that game was fine. You can also do what I'm about to show you here, which is where you mix it with OpenGL. And that runs fine actually. It's just, it's not a, so, I mean, you can do this. This is all Pygame. Well, this is Pygame and Modern Jail. So it's running OpenGL in a Pygame context. So the input's being done with Pygame and stuff. So yeah, you can do a lot of stuff with Pygame. But yeah. Don't discount 3D with Python. It's doable. It's just that like hold on, let me pull up Task Manager just to show you. Let's look at this one. I think this is it. No, this is the wrong one. Where is it? I'm looking for, where would it be? I think it's gotta sort by GPU. It's gotta be this one. Is it? Ignore the 2 gigs of RAM. That's just because the model in there is absolutely massive. I'm using 5% of my GPU. My CPU is like barely doing anything. Like, you can, like, there's huge potential for 3D game development with Python. So I'm planning on making a video about why there's potential there. So it's both in and outside of engines. Although I do need to research and just double check that there isn't some random dumb reason why engines can't use Pygame as the scripting language, but like Godot uses GDScript, which is Python-like. It's interpreted, I think. Unity used to work with JavaScript, for crying out loud, which is also an interpreted language, with less type safety than Python. So that expect a video on that sometime within the next couple months, I would say. It is on my list. It's like probably the next video I'd like to make. Oh yeah, you can see like a little bit of, there's light coming in. That's part of the model though. Also, I have, if you look right here, there's a bit of, first of all, the water's transparent, but it also reflects the light. There's also, you can look through the windows. Okay, I'm getting a little bit close. You can kind of see through those windows. It's a bit hard too because of the textures on them. You can see there's like a torch back there somewhere. But yeah, don't discount 3D with Python. Would I consider hiring an artist? No, because they're, well, at the moment, no, because they're expensive. Maybe if I, like, also, I like the creative control for my games, but depending on what I'm doing, maybe I would hire an artist if I'm making enough money, like, for a project that I don't care about the art direction on, like, for example, this MMO game. I don't care too much about the art on this game. So for this one, if I had the money, and I was gonna make enough money to cover it, I would consider hiring an artist, but for the most part, like, it's just so much better to just work for myself and do my own art. I'm faster at pixel art for games, probably, for, like, tile sets and stuff, than a lot of artists, and they charge very high rates as well, so it's just not worth it when I can do it myself. And that, so, like, the interesting thing about, like, contracting out for work for game development is that it, the most expensive part by far is the artist. So like 2D or 3D, like, it doesn't matter. So 2D, you're hiring like normal artists to draw like everything. In 3D, you're hiring 3D modelers and people to texture things and all sorts of stuff. But those people get very expensive and there's a lot of work to do there. Music composers are very cheap because there's not a whole lot of time that needs to be spent on music for games with respect to the art. Art's such a bigger portion of that, and that's why I've spent so much time learning to draw over learning music composition. I'm learning music composition now so I can make my own music, but it's so much harder to, like, as an independent developer, when you, like, kind of doing things as a hobby, it's so much more expensive to get an actual artist to do everything for your game than it is to just get a music composer. So it's better to learn art first if you're thinking about that for some reason. So Pygame doesn't use texture surfaces by default. You think that's a bad decision? I think there's performance differences. I suspect. I haven't tested this. My suspicion, just based on my understanding of how that would probably work on a lower level. If you're dealing with particles, like you saw in that YouTube video I showed earlier with like thousands of particles or whatever, it's faster to use normal surfaces. There is overhead in working with the GPU, I think. So, yeah, but also SDL1 was made in a time when GPU rendering wasn't that big of a thing, I don't think. So, SDL2 came out, I don't know if it might have been in the 90s, and Pygame never updated until just recently. So, that's just an issue of Pygame was really outdated, but now it's updated. That's not a voxel engine, that's a 3D model. It's a Minecraft map ported to a 3D model. How do you randomly move around, for example, the little white things behind your face? Oh, that's just part of, that's open source, so you can read it yourself. Just download Gleamshroom, and it's the code for the foreground. I think it was just like randomly, like, so it has an angle and a speed. It'll randomly change, I don't know if it changes the speed, but it definitely randomly changes the angle periodically. So it'll just, every frame, randomly decide, should I change the angle? If yes, change the angle to a random angle. So, and it moves like with the angle. So I think if it moves without, updating its angle for long enough, it just goes in a circle. Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. But you can read the code yourself. It's in Gloomshoe. What's next? Pygame ray tracing? Yeah, I think that's doable. I'm not. So you can do CPU-based ray tracing. Someone in one of my classes is doing that. There's also GPU-accelerated ray tracing. I don't know the details of how you do. Actually, I don't know the details of how you do either of them. I would have to look into how that works on a lower level to see if that would be doable in Python. I'm not sure about that. If it's not doable, it's because so the way Python works is a lot of times you're working with libraries that are written in other languages. It would just mean that the other libraries are not made yet. Not that it can't be done. You would learn music composition, but think the key to your keyboard hardware is on another PC, so maybe locked out of using the keyboard software. You mean like MIDI stuff? That's weird. Why? What do you mean software? Do people have like virtual like keyboards they pay for? Because I have a real MIDI keyboard. And then also, I mean, you can make music without paying for anything. You can just download LMMS or Reaper and make music that way. Do I like playing games or just making games? I like both. Most of the games I play are actually multiplayer, which is funny considering most of the games I make are single player. And I don't even really play platformers, like indie platformers. Like you'd think I would play a ton of them because that's what I make, but I don't play them really. I play a lot of my time goes into League of Legends and then VR games. that's about it. I don't even play a lot of indie games at this point. Well, actually, no, a lot of the VR games are technically indie games, so... I play, like... I just don't play a wide variety of games, I guess. I don't play that many AAA games either. It's just I don't play a wide variety. I play League, which I guess is AAA. And then there's... I guess all the VR games I play are indie. Except for Half-Life Alyx, which I only played for a bit because it's story-based. So I guess most of the games I play are indie, but I don't play that many indie games. What are my top 3 games? Beat Saber, Pavlov. I don't know what my number 3 would be. Maybe One Shot, which is an indie game. But Beat Saber and Pavlov are VR games. Indie VR games. Am I going to publish any of the games I've made on any known platform? What? I mean, my games are published. Like they're all on itch.io. My paid games are on Steam. My paid games are released on both Windows and Linux. Most of my free games are Windows, but some of them have Linux ports as well. Also, you can usually run the source code on Linux if you know what you're doing. You feel like a ray tracing demo would be better than multi-threading or something? What? Oh, better with multi-threading. Yeah. Well, no, not multi-threading, multi-processing. Multi-threading usually is on the same core, so... Or, I mean, there's some... If you're talking about in terms of Python. Multi-threading is a vague term, but you want to use multiple processors, otherwise you don't get much of a performance boost. Have I considered using the Asano engine? I haven't really seriously considered it because it doesn't interest me too much. I've considered looking into it, like making something with it, just so that I can make a video about it, and like compare it to Pygame and stuff. And I kind of want to do a series where I look at all the ways you can make games with Python, but that would take a lot of research, and I don't have the time for that right now. You haven't. Akai MPK Mini requires you to install proprietary software and have a key on your hard drive to use. That's literally what I have. Are you sure you're not thinking of it does come with some software for yeah, I can like just smack the keys and you can hear me hitting them. It comes with some software for I think of some kind of virtual like keyboard thing. But I think you can just hook it up with any computer as a media input device, and I don't think you need the license. I think the license is for their own, like it's like a plugin essentially. I don't think you need it to use the keyboard. So look into that. I'm almost certain you just plug it in, you set it up with your DAW, so you can grab LMMS or Reaper and you don't pay anything. You just go into settings, configure your MIDI keyboard, and it works fine. I don't think you have to have the hardware key. That doesn't make... I don't think you have to have the key. That wouldn't make any sense for a physical device. That is the case. I need to stop leaning back. It doesn't track my mouth. I think you're talking about the plugin thing that I have, which I don't use at all. So don't worry about that thing. Am I using regular arrows on a keyboard or Vim shortcut pattern while I'm coding? I use arrows, but I also use home and end a lot. And then I mostly arrows and home and end, but I make significantly more use of home and end than most people, I think. And that it's a huge, like, it saves so much time using home and end when I'm typing. How do you make a multiplayer game in Pygame? I might make a tutorial in like a year, who knows. It's same as making anything network based with sockets with Python. Nothing is Pygame specific. I'm almost caught up on chat here. You need to learn music theory and all of that, but you don't have a background in music. It's not that complicated. I learned music theory, I forgot all of it, and then I learned it again. It's not that complicated. There's some fundamentals you need to know, and then you can immediately start making stuff that sounds coherent. To make stuff that sounds interesting, it takes a little bit more. Something I found out is that if you know the basics, which you can learn in like a day, you can make stuff that sounds good by brute forcing it. Trying different things. Sounds wrong, swap it, and something else. Or if it doesn't sound quite like you want it to, you can make things sound coherent pretty easily just with the basics. It's the part where you mix coherent with interesting that you run into problems, and that's where you kind of brute force things. And the better you understand the music theory, the less you have to brute force, and the more you can just do what you want to do. But no matter what with music, you can kind of just brute force it until it sounds right. But there's a point where it becomes extremely tedious if you're not informed enough and you're trying to do something too complex. So yeah, there's a good balance there. I brute force a fair amount because my music theory is very primitive. But I played piano for like 8 years, so there's that. What I use for pixel art? MS Paint. Oh, my mouse. And then if I'm doing background art, I'll use my drawing tablet, but for the most part I use my mouse. Mouse and MS Paint. And then if I'm animating, I'll use a sprite. So I'll use different things depending on the situation. But for most things, it's my mouse and MS Paint. Because I don't need the drawing tablet if the resolution's low. I'm pretty good with drawing with my mouse. Anyways, I am caught up on chat, so I'm gonna end the stream here. It's like I've been streaming over 3 hours, and my voice is almost gone. So thanks for watching. Next week I'm gonna work on this list. Same time next week, 10 a.m. Eastern time, Saturday.